Everything that we do, we create.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Darius, the Professor Wise, my beautiful host, co-host there, Dr. Denise O'Sullivan. Welcome to another episode of PTST. We are so glad that you're with us. Dr. Denise, how are you, darling? How are you today?
Hey, I'm here.
Is your light on, Denise?
Oh, my light went off, huh?
Yeah.
Boy. All right, and this is the second time I'm saying hello because my computer died.
I know we've had some little technical issues, but we good. It
Is that
happens.
better?
It's a little better, yeah.
I don't look like an ink spot.
No, you look good right there.
Oh, that's better. I got it.
Well, I hope
All right.
everybody is doing well. But how are you? Besides, the technical stuff we went through, you doing good today?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
Good.
I'm doing
Good.
good. I do good
All right.
every day. I have my moments. And I just kind of take a look at them and say,
Right.
What do you want? And who sent you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't line up, send them on their way.
Yeah. It's like, not today.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. But I wanted to talk about this, right? So, and this is kind of been on my mind, and you had sent me a video that kind of confirmed some of this, but it made me think. So, DJ, and for those who don't know, DJ is my youngest son. He's 16. He's a junior in high school. He plays football, so he's this is the off season for him, right? So they're working out and everything. And next year, of course, will be his senior year, and he's really like, I want to win a championship, right, for football. And I told him, I said, man, this is the time you have to start. And I said, but you have to step up. He's stepping up in this leadership role on the team. And I told him, you need to start to create a feeling, a spirit of success and winning now, right? You got to start planting the seeds for winning a championship with the rest of your team now. Like, get them thinking about it. Get them very conscious about the fact that they want to win a championship and what they need to do now to prepare to do that. So really, and what it was, Denise, it was, I started thinking about this. It's like, you have to create, and I want to talk about, today, this field of consciousness, right? You have to create this field of consciousness around you and your teammates and be very conscious about winning, about this championship, about playing good football, everybody doing what they need to do. And I just think it's so important that we understand that those people that we surrounding ourselves with, what we're personally, internally thinking, creates this field, creates this space around us. And that space has a consciousness. That space has a consciousness, and we take on that consciousness if we immerse ourselves in that space. But we can create what the consciousness is. And so we do it all the time. We're always immersed in this. We just don't know it because we can't visually see it. But you can feel it.
Well, and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You pay attention. I've had a whole series of universal connections happening with me this week.
Okay.
It happens all the time, but what has happened has just been real interesting. Remember last episode I talked about how I met 3 wise men?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, when you were in school, yeah.
When I was in school. Well, two of them are still around, right?
Okay.
And the wise man that I mentioned, that was the performing artist, the
Yeah.
drummer, and into vibration and
Mm-hmm.
energy and whatnot. He watched our video that we did last time. This
Oh,
is
okay.
this is what he sent to me last night. Now, this man is in California, and Baba, I hope you're listening. Right? A comedic proverb. The purpose of all human life is to achieve a state of consciousness
Mm.
apart from bodily concerns. All right. Principles of mentalism. The universe is mind, and mind is the universe. All
Mm.
right. That's one. The second one that he sent, the all is mind. The universe is mental. Thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth.
Mm.
Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything you think. Last
I
night, he sent it to
I
me.
love that.
He sent it to me last night.
See? See that I believe in confirmation, not coincidence. It's confirmation. But be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for what you think is powerful. I mean, a lot of stuff that he said in there was powerful, but that is just and we have to understand that part of what inspires us to think certain things is the crowd that we with, the this whole space that we're in, this field of consciousness. I love being in your company, right? Be it here on Zoom, or if you're here. So for Christmas or whatever, you're here. I love being in your company because of your energy, and that is so real, and you feel it. But too often people neglect it because you can't see it. And when you said what he said in there, it's like, about outside of your body,
Beyond bodily concerns.
outside of bodily concern. So you have to know that there's things happening outside. Sometimes you have to pay attention to that more than your bodily concerns that you may have right now. And we have to pay attention to those things.
Well,
And
the
go
thing
ahead.
is, I sent out a knock to the universe. We're sending out information into the universe. All right.
Yes.
And people are receiving it. So he got a knock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From our last video, and he knocked back.
Yes. Because we're expanding that field of consciousness. We're expanding it.
Well, we're contributing to an
Contributing.
already existing field
True.
of consciousness. So
True.
it's like the 100 monkey effect, where, all right, I'm not calling you a monkey, but I say something to you, right?
Uh-huh.
That has an impact on your consciousness, on your
Right.
mind. And you could share that with someone just in your demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
just in your presence. You don't even have to say anything to them. Because remember last time we talked about how we take in information.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're just bits and pieces. They call them fractals or fractals. And then we emanate.
Yep.
So we're a walking mind. We're a walking, talking consciousness
Mm-hmm.
that's connected
Yes.
to the cosmos, that's connected to everything, every bit of consciousness out there. But it depends upon your vibration and your frequency.
Exactly. Because it works with positive stuff as well as negative stuff. Here is where we got to be aware of our vibration. What is our frequency, right? Are we up here and that's what we're emitting, or are we down here and we're emitting low frequencies? And that's why one of the things that I love about you is that you're always at this high frequency. And so even if I'm not at that level, you raise me up, just the presence, being in that presence, right? And I love being around people like that because they raise your vibration. But then there are those times, right? When you may not be at that high frequency, but I may be at a higher frequency. And I do the same for you. So we do that for each other. So if everybody understands, you have to be, if you're at that high frequency, you're emitting that, and the people around you should start to feel that. And you can raise somebody else's level because you are. And that's one of the things I was trying to share with DJ, right? When he's talking about he wants to win a championship before he leaves high school. I was like, first of all, you got to put it out into the universe. You got to put that knockout, right? You got to put it out there. I said, but you got to raise the frequency of your teammates so that they're thinking on the same level. Because when y'all come together, y'all should have a very high frequency. That field of consciousness should all be on, this is our goal, this is what we're going to do. And so I just want him to be aware of that, like, dude, you got to start now. You can't wait till the season starts. You got to start now. Build that up so it can be strong when the season comes. But we do this all the time. So, when I look at our community, right? Let me kind of shift gears a little bit on the same topic, though. When I look at our community, one of the things that I feel is that as a whole, our frequency, our field of consciousness is so low. And that's why sometimes we find ourselves in certain situations because we're not putting out that positive energy as a collective to raise us all up. It's the things that we take in. Like you said, we're taking in all this stuff, what we're reading, what we're watching, what we're hearing. All of those things are contributing to who we are and what we emit and the vibrations we put out. And unfortunately, so many times it's such a negative vibration that we send that through all of us, and we're not uplifting each other. And I just think that if we're aware of that field of consciousness, and when we know that we're contributing, we're constantly contributing to it. If we change our thinking, if we're intentional about our thinking, if we're intentional about what we're taking in, and then intentional about what we're putting out, it can start to change how we all operate and the vibration that we're all in.
Okay. I like the fact that you're stressing that we emit energy,
Mm-hmm.
as an electromagnetic organism.
Yes.
We are radiating, because I've noticed in society, the old world
Mm-hmm.
focuses on receiving, okay, get what they're getting.
Right.
And it turns into, he did this to me, she did this to me, that happened to me, this is what somebody did to me. And it creates a mentality of victimization.
Speak. Right.
Yeah. It's like, boy, look at what they did to me.
Yeah.
you know? And so we're so focused on what the state of victimhood
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that we're not paying attention to the fact that when we accept that victimization, that role of being the victim, it lowers our vibration.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Because it's like, poor me, I didn't ask for this. I must have deserved it. I'm unworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you turn around and you put that right back out there.
Yes.
Because
yes.
it's like, and so that's where hurt people comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
we don't have to be, we can flip the coin.
Right.
And not see it as a form of victimization.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We could possibly even see it as, what did I learn from this?
Exactly.
Where's the jewel? Where's the gem? I might feel like crap right now.
Yep.
Right? Ayanna Van Sant wrote a book years ago, The Value in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Where she talked about being in the valley, being in a low mood, not having emotions that are low, but just being in a low mood.
Right.
And just kind of observing. It's like what I said before. It's like, oh, there's a bad mood going on. I'm not going to say that I have a bad mood because I'm not going to own it. It's like,
right.
And there's a difference. It's like, got a bad mood around here, huh? And that's when it's like self-reflection. It's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Where's this bad mood coming from? What did I experience? What did I say to myself? What did I encounter that I might need to take a look at and glean a new perspective?
And I think that one of the things you just said was very key, and I hope everybody picked up on it, is that don't own it.
Yeah.
Don't own it. And because once you own it, now you're going to emit that. Because the changes, it actually, it changes you physically too. It changes you physically once you own that. Because once you own it and say, this is mine, your body, you have a visceral effect. Your body says, okay, so since this is ours, this is how we're feeling, then we need to do these things. So you have to, you lower your blood pressure or you raise your heart rate, and all these things happen to you physically once you own that, and then you put that back out. So just like we were talking about, we actually start to emit that. But if you have those, and I talk about this in my book, right? If you have those moments where you I love how you said there's a bad mood out there. Like, I'm not owning that. But when you're in those situations that are not favorable, like, we can flip that coin. We can reframe how we see that. It may not be the ideal situation, but like you said, what is it that we can learn from this? What is it that I can take from this that will help me grow and move forward? But we have to be conscious enough to recognize it and not fall down the rabbit hole of the victimization. Like, why me? Why did this happen to me? I mean, I remember when I was working, right? I was working as a software trainer, and I came in one day, and it's so ironic. And this is the thing. If we pay attention, there are things happening all the time, but we can't focus on just the one thing, especially the negative thing. So when I was working, I came in, I was writing my book, Denise, and that weekend, This was a Monday. I came into the office, and that weekend I had just finished writing the manuscript for the book. And I came in on Monday, and Monday morning, I will never forget this. My boss comes to me and says, Darius, can I talk to you for a second in my office? I was like, sure, not thinking of it, anything of it. And I walk in, and one of the women from one of the people from HR was sitting in his office. And I said, oh, to myself, I said, oh, it's one of those meetings. And what come to find out, they were abolishing my position. And at that moment, there are so many directions I could have went in, right? I'm married, I got a wife, I got 4 kids, and now you're saying you're going to take my income. But I was in the space, in a mental space, and my field of consciousness was so high, and I was feeling so good because I just finished writing the book. So when they told me that, I smiled, and they were like, "You okay?" I was like, "I am great." I am absolutely great. Because in my mind, I was like, man, I thought I was going to have to stay here for another 20 years. So, it threw them for such a loop because I did not go into victimization. Like, why me? What am I supposed to do? No, I was excited because now it gave me an opportunity to explore some other things. I had just finished writing my book. I was happy about that. I was on a high from that. And it was just a matter of how do you accept the tests that life gives you? And that will determine where you go.
All right. So, but let's stop.
Okay.
All right. You said that your boss told you that they had abolished your position.
Right.
Okay. You are not your position.
Yes.
They did not abolish you.
No.
So that's how you could have an experience, but not be the experience.
Yes.
They abolished the position.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't got nothing to, that's not you. They didn't abolish you. So it's like, I'm still here.
Right.
What
else
can I do?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the position is gone. It's like I kind of feel that way about having a doctorate. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose they decide, the society or the medical profession decides that they're going to abolish psychologists, the doctor, right? And if I am tied to that and I think that that's who I am, then I get erased.
So many people operate on that level, though, Denise. I'm so glad you brought attention to that because they do. Like, well, what am I going to do now? So who am I going to be if I'm not this? Be you.
Who you be is not who you really be.
And here we go. There we go. It's that part
of consciousness, what's inside of me that I can generate.
Yes.
Or regenerate.
Yep.
And if you're around a bunch of people that are not inspiring.
Or inspired.
And you're surrounded by a bunch of other people who are saying, I have not.
Mm-hmm.
Then where Uncle Dick used to always say to me, don't look down, don't look straight ahead, but look up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
but take you with you.
Take you with you. Take you with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
But,
of you, not just the physical body, but the electromagnetic organism, spirit body that you are, because it's all about spirit,
mm-hmm.
and that comes first.
Right.
All right. Even if you don't think, excuse me, that you have it inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
it's there. And I think the key is not so much believing, but knowing.
Knowing that it's there.
We're moving out of that age of believing. I believe, right? No, I know
Yes.
that I have something inside of me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that that is a creative force,
Yes.
right? Because we are creators. We're co-creators. We
Mm-hmm.
can create, we can we can we can start to write our own narrative instead of the narrative that someone else wrote for us.
Exactly. And know that our narrative is the correct one.
For us, but not
For us.
necessarily for
Right.
someone else.
Right. For us.
Yeah, and that would be my truth.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, part of all of that is, again, we got to start within ourselves, but it's also the collective. It's also that group, that those people that you surround yourself with. A lot of people don't believe and don't know that they are these magnificent, phenomenal beings, because the people that they're around don't know it or don't believe it and don't encourage it within themselves and those that are in that same group. So it's the this field of consciousness is always all around us, and we tend to navigate, or we tend to drift to those that are on that same frequency that we're on. And if our frequency is low, then we're going to find ourselves surrounded by people that are in that same frequency band.
We will attract.
Exactly.
We will attract because we're like mirrors. What we put
Yeah.
out there bounces right back to us.
Yep.
Right? So don't be putting a curse on somebody. Don't play around like that, because it's stuff will come right back to you. It's called karma.
Right back. Comes right back.
Yeah, you're bad mouthing somebody.
Yeah.
You know, that's a projection of what's inside of you, and it's going to come right back to you.
And that's a sign of a low frequency too.
Well, it's a sign of how energy works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those thoughts are energy.
Yeah, the thought is the tool.
Yes.
It's a tool of the spirit body that we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's I'm not really a fan of this whole woke thing, but we need to gain consciousness of what we're doing. Physically, mentally, we have to gain consciousness of it, and then become very intentional and deliberate and how we move forward, from thinking to surrounding ourselves, people we surround ourselves with, what we listen to, what we read. We have to become intentional and deliberate and conscious of those things at every step. And not saying that you can't have a down moment where you just kind of, watch mindless TV for a little while, but you can't let that seep in and be your basis of existence.
Stop. You, you just said like 6 sentences ago. you, you said you have to be conscious of it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about conscious of it, meaning the spirit force that
Mm-hmm.
we are,
Right.
the electromagnetic being that we are, not it, but we.
True.
We is it.
We is it.
Yeah, we is. Right? And so that's why self-awareness is so important,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're talking about all of this stuff, right? About how energy works and how we take in and then we emanate or emit. It's nice to know that,
Mm-hmm.
but stop and pay attention to how it happens for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that way, don't take our word for it. Don't say, I know it because Darius and Denise said it.
Right.
Know it for yourself,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like when I talked about driving in a car, you don't
Mm-hmm.
just get in a car and drive it. You got to know how it works, right? How to turn it on and turn it off. Pay attention to how stuff happens. Like I told that little story about my wise man
Mm-hmm.
texting me those quotes last night.
Right.
It's like, this is part of the feedback loop, right? He watched the video, got a knock, and he knocked back,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's like, this does work.
It does.
So you know for yourself. Don't be walking around there. I call it being airborne in the word, knowing the word, right? But really not knowing the word.
Right.
The key is to know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Not what Darius or Denise said,
Mm-hmm.
because you may not work exactly as one of these quotes
Right.
dictates,
Right.
right? You may go a whole different way. This is one of the ways, and Hanel will say that in his work, okay? Right? People oftentimes, this is real interesting, don't pay attention to the thought so much. They pay attention to the sensation
Hmm.
that they're experiencing in their body.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's intuition. We talked about this
Mm-hmm.
last week. And that intuition shows up as a sensation
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in your body, in your stomach, in your arms, in your head. You get a headache, right? You know you got a headache. That's the thought
Right.
coming from you. But it's like, wait a minute, there's something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's all a part of this consciousness that we are and that we live in. All right. it's like saying, who is God in you, and who are you in God?
Right.
All right. So we're not this closed electromagnetic organism.
Right. No.
This body that was given to us, it's like a screen.
Okay.
All right. This is real interesting. So you're in, it's kind of like the universe is a womb.
Mm.
And you're in
Mm-hmm.
this womb, right?
Okay.
And you have all of these sensations in your body, but you're really not sure what they are,
All
right?
right.
They're just movements of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the intention to figure out what it is that's going on with you and what you are experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
it's inside of you, but what's inside of you is going to connect with the consciousness that's outside of you.
Right.
All right. Because we're surrounded by all of this energy, but each bit, and we could break this down to subatomic levels like Billy Carson does, or my friend
Mm-hmm.
who's in quantum physics, but energy carries information,
Yep.
not full thoughts,
Nope.
but
It's
fragment,
bits.
tiny bits of information. I mean, you go outside and what happens? You feel a cold before you think, damn, it's cold.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you go outside, you feel the wind, and you say, you feel the wind
Yeah.
before you think.
Yeah.
All right. So now you've got these sensations going on in your body, and it surfaces into your mind, and the thoughts are like, what the hell's going on with me? Why am I
Mm-hmm.
thinking this way? Am I crazy? Right? I want to know what this is. Who are you and what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I hope I'm not scaring y'all with that. Who are you and what do you want? But the intention is set in motion from your heart, because it's like, I really desire to know what's going on here with me and why I'm having these sensations, because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable when you don't know what something
Mm-hmm.
is, right?
Yep.
All right.
But that takes a level of awareness to even get to that point. So that's the thing. And here's the other thing. You mentioned something a little while ago about everybody is different, right? Basically, everybody's different, and you're gonna feel it maybe differently than somebody else, and it may not hit you the same way. I want to remind people of the reason that we're doing this show. The name of the show is PTST, Provoking Thought and Seeking Truth. All we're here to do is share some information and provoke some thought and get you to seek your own truth.
Yeah.
And
Find out how
that
your
takes,
car works.
yeah, and that takes awareness. That takes intention, and it takes attention. You got to pay attention. See, the body, the way this avatar, this body that we have works is that we have those sensations you were talking about to alert us of something. And then we don't pay attention, like, oh, what is this feeling that I'm feeling in my arm? or I fell and my arm hurts, it lets me know that, hold up, maybe you broke that. It's a feel. We have that so it alerts us to what's going on. So we have to become aware of that, that's what it is. That's our alarm system, our alert system, right? But we got to be aware of that. And then we have to say, like you were saying, like, why is this happening? Why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? I was going back to DJ, right? It's so many lessons that I see and I teach him from what he's going through with playing football. So it's so amazing to me sometimes. But he was at a camp one time, and he plays wide receiver. So they were doing one-on-ones. That means that it's just the quarterback throwing the wide receiver ball with one defender defending him. And he was doing amazing, right? He's killing them. He's getting open. He's catching the ball. And then they went to like more of a team play where 7-on-7, and he wasn't firing off the same way. And so I was talking to him afterwards, and he said, well, Dad, I was thinking when I did the one-on-ones that I really have to kill it. I got to go out here and do it great because I didn't feel I did really good warming up, right? And so I said, all right, cool. I said, well, what happened when you did 7-on-7? This was all the same day. He said, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Like physically, I felt different. And I thought that was very interesting because he said that his thought process of going into the 7-on-7 was totally opposite of what his thought process was going into one-on-ones. So he did great doing one-on-ones. 7-on-7, not so great, right? Wasn't as good. And I told him, he was like, so it just felt a little different. And I told him, I said, dude, that's how your body tells you things. Because you felt physically, because he said physically it felt different to him. I said, that's how your body tells you that it's operating on how you're thinking. I said, so the thoughts that you were having told your body to feel and act a certain way. So you got to pay attention when you're feeling that, just like we were talking about, when you're feeling that way, you got to go back. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? How are you looking at the situation that you're in? Your body is going to give you that visceral effect. And if we don't pay attention to it, we may miss why we're even feeling this way. So, it's based on what you were saying.
Or I see what's happening. Now that I'm listening to you, you're saying that the thought comes and then the feeling comes.
It may go either way.
Okay.
But when we have the feeling, we got to think about why.
Okay, because oftentimes the feeling, and I'm using the word sensation.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the sensation happens first because of our contact with the electromagnetic force,
Right.
the cosmos, because we're connected to
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's like you might be picking up something from somebody else.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to originate with you. And that's why it's important that you know yourself and say,
exactly.
That ain't my thought. That's
right.
not how I'm feeling.
Nope.
It's like, no, I mean, I had a real interesting thing happen to me yesterday. I got a call from an individual who was having this experience, all right, that elicited all of these feelings. And she was uncomfortable with the feelings and the subsequent thoughts.
Okay.
And she was looking for a different perspective. And I listened to her, and it was like, I didn't say this is a lot. I just listened because I was trying to understand what she was actually experiencing.
Okay.
And after listening to her, it dawned on me that the thoughts that she was having were very much valid
Mm-hmm.
because of the experience that she was having. All right. But because of the way that she was interpreting it, she was interpreting it based upon her own experience, right? No, she was having the experience herself, but she was
Mm-hmm.
interpreting it from the perspective of another world, another
Hmm.
way of understanding.
Okay.
And it's like, if I say something, then I'm going to be the troublemaker. I'm going to be the one that's out of pocket, yada, 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 yada. But this is what I'm experiencing. Is that crazy?
Right.
And I said, no, it, it's your experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it had to do with this whole issue of her being able to trust herself
Mm.
and know that what she was experiencing was real,
Mm-hmm.
and to try and interpret it from another perspective. In other words, who the other individual thought she should be,
Mm-hmm.
she got lost in it. It's like, no, what you're experiencing is valid. And then she went point center.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I wasn't trusting myself. And then she was able to get to what was going on with her
Mm-hmm.
and what she needed
Mm-hmm.
from the situation.
Yeah.
I didn't tell her, but I pointed her back to herself. This is real, what you're
Yeah.
experiencing. Trust yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so, because we don't spend a lot of time being true to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
knowing ourselves, we get caught up in a world or a narrative that doesn't belong to us. And then we go on the battlefield in that narrative.
Right. Which is
It's
the
like,
wrong position and stance.
it's like, wait a minute, this is your narrative, right?
Yep.
In other words, you made up this game. You set the rules for this game, and you
Mm-hmm.
expect for me to play this game
Mm-hmm.
under your rules,
Right.
right? First of all, I see that this is not my narrative.
Nope.
This is not my story.
Nope.
This is not my perception. So, how am I going to come over here and engage in your Monopoly game or your chess game, your board game,
Mm-hmm.
when it ain't my game?
Nope. And the rules
I
don't even
don't
take
want to
into
collect.
consideration who I am.
Yeah, I am. Say that again.
The rules don't even take into consideration who I am.
And that's what she was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but first she had to come to grips with the fact that she was saying, oh, they're not taking me into consideration. But if I say to them that that's what's going on with me, they're going to say, oh, yes, we care about you very
Right.
much.
Right.
Right. I said, and that's going to piss you off because that's going to feel like a gaslight.
The boss said that's the gaslighting.
Right. Are you all with me on this?
I hope so, because I am.
It's like,
it's
know yourself, but in order to really know yourself, you got to pay attention to yourself, and you gotta be yourself.
Yeah, and be
It's
with
okay.
yourself.
Yeah. So she's thinking it's not okay to be myself.
Mm,
It's not
it
okay
is.
to be who I think I am, and know that that's who I am. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over here and play this game. No, you take your dice and you go home
Right.
and figure out, and then know who you are and what you need. And then you
Yeah.
go back and you say, okay, this is what I need.
Yeah.
This is the game. This is the game that I have constructed.
Yep.
This is my narrative.
We have to, and this is one of the things I want you guys that are watching to understand is that you have to pay attention to what your body is telling you. And for her, you know, she was feeling a certain way and she paid attention to it and then was like, all right, why am I feeling this? What is going on? And started to look a little deeper into it, but it was based on how she was starting to feel. What
Yeah,
is
she
that
didn't know. It
feeling?
wasn't sure. She wasn't sure what she was feeling, and the thoughts that came as a result of these feelings, she felt were all wrong.
Right. Yes. I love that she just it made her pay attention though.
All
To
right.
like, hold on, I gotta dig a little deeper in this, you know, and not ignore it. Not ignore it and just go along with the game and go along with that narrative. Like, I'm gonna pay attention to what I'm feeling right here. And I don't know why I'm feeling this, but
Sensing this. I have a
yes.
sense that this is happening. All right.
Yep.
But now to show you how we remain connected, or how we're
Mm-hmm.
connected as human beings, right? She got all this stuff, all of these fragments of information, fractals of information.
Right.
She said, let me just sit down and think about this, right? Let me see who I can reach out to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, this is someone that I have known since, oh gosh, 2007,
Okay.
right? And I don't see this person often or talk to them often, but I love this person and they love me. And they
Mm-hmm.
know that, we'll have lunch,
Right.
every year or so, but we're on Facebook, we back and forth, we message. So, but it's like we remain connected.
Oh, yes.
Our consciousness remains connected.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to see her every month or talk to her every month, but it's about the fact that there was something inside of her that said, reach out
Yep.
and reach out to and energy, because that's all I am, right? A
Mhm.
spirit
Yeah.
that can put some of these fractals together and have it make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like bits and pieces of information that's floating around out there.
Well, I hope that what we're doing provides that to people on a bigger level. Like we're putting together some of those pieces for people because they're going through these things that we're talking about.
Listen, I
So,
go through them.
oh,
You're
we all
going
do.
through them.
We all do. So I'm glad we're able to provide this platform where we can try to put some of those fractals together, some of those pieces together.
Yeah, because it's nothing. I mean, consciousness is nothing but information.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Subatomic stuff that kind of collapses.
Yeah.
All these little bits and pieces of
Of
information.
data just floating.
It's floating
Yeah. Yep.
around us, which means that it's inside of us.
Yeah.
It enters it. It's part. We are part of it.
And it is us.
We are part of the bigger picture. So, at any rate, write your own damn story.
Write your own story.
Yeah,
Pay attention to the story you're telling yourself. Pay attention to how your body's responding to that. Pay attention to who you're around. Pay attention to the energy that you're emitting and you're giving off, and also be very conscious of what you let in.
Right. And that way, you know who you be.
You know who you be.
And nobody else can tell you. It's like I had a real interesting thought that came to me the other day. It's like Akila gave me Michelle Obama's book, Becoming,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right? And every once in a while, I'll tell little stories, right, about things that have happened to me. Not so much that it's about me, right? But it's about the experiences
Mm-hmm.
that have made me who I am.
Yes.
All right. So you're not just a day runner. Remember we used to use day runners,
Yeah.
right? And write our little appointments down, and
Yeah. Your little, yeah.
yeah,
Your little book. Mm-hmm.
right. So one year I happened to look at my day runner for a whole year, and I said, "Oh my God!" Right? But then all of these appointments I started to construct as a story
Mm-hmm.
as to how my year actually developed,
Mm-hmm.
who I saw and what I got from that, how it contributed to my year. So think of your life as a day runner and start constructing your own story going way
Yes.
back,
Yes.
right? Because Michelle Obama is not the only one that can write a book about becoming.
Nope.
Write your own book.
Yeah.
It's like constructing a life story for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
you can change the story at any time.
exactly. Because I'll tell you something, if I had actually become some of the things that I lived through,
Ooh,
I
come on
wouldn't be
now.
here. I wouldn't be here
No,
now, right?
no,
So
no.
Darius, I'm becoming. Tell them about, and then we're gonna stop because we've been on it for a while. We said we were gonna be short, but
We always say that.
I'm going to start setting the timer. Tell them
Oh.
about your formula. E plus R equals O.
I live by that formula with everything that I do, Denise. So the formula that Denise is talking about, if you and it's in my book, but I share this with audiences whenever I speak. I always share this, and I always, one of the things that I try to do is really get my kids to understand this too. So I hope that you all, if you haven't been taking notes, write this down. The formula, and I call it the formula that changes everything. The formula is E plus R equals O. So the E stands for the events. The R is your response, and the O is the outcome. So here's the key to that. So it's E plus R. So it's the event plus your response that gives you the outcome that you have in your life. The key to this, and what you have to understand and be able to accept, is that you 99.9% of the time are probably not going to have any control over the events. Whatever it is, you're not going to have, you're usually not going to have control over the event. But you will always have 100% control over how you respond to that event. And that's the key. So we have these things going on, whatever it is, it's not the event. Too many times we focus on the events. What just happened? This is how we get into that victimization that we were talking about earlier, Denise. We focus on the event and why me? Why this happened to me? Blah, blah, blah. And then we get this outcome because we didn't take control of our response. So the outcome is usually something that we don't want.
We react.
But we react. Exactly. So instead of focusing on the outcome, we need to put our time. So this event, it's focusing on the event. This event happens, that's over and done. That's the key. The event already happened. Now let's focus on the response. And you just said something that I wanted to mention. There is a difference between a response and a reaction.
I just showed
the reaction, yeah, that's a reaction. Exactly. And that doesn't take thinking. That doesn't take thinking. The reaction says, your brain says, basically go back to something else that happened to us before, similar to this situation we're in now, and just do the same thing. React the same way.
Like the amygdala getting hijacked.
Yeah, amygdala gets hijacked. So we have to compose our response. Means we got to think, like, what do I want out of this? So here's the key, guys. Whenever something happens to you, whatever the event is, good, bad, or indifferent, you have to focus on not just the event, but you got to focus on what is your response. And you have to figure out what is the outcome I want, because sometimes you got to kind of have to reverse engineer your response. Like, I want this outcome as a result of this event happening. So what do I need to do, response, to get that outcome? You have the control over that response. Don't worry about the event because you probably had no control over that. You have more concern. You have more concern than control.
So it's like, how do you know what you want?
How do you know?
You know by knowing who you be.
There you go. So once you know who you be, you kind of know what you want. Now we know how to respond to whatever events happen to make sure that we're on the path to get the outcome that we desire.
That's right. I'm not playing Monopoly. I want to play Scrabble.
There you go. Create your own rules.
I want to play Scrabble. I'm going to take my stuff, my little tiles, and go home. It's not the game that I need to be playing.
Yep.
I got
Stop playing a game that doesn't give you the ability to be who you be.
Thank you. And write your own becoming. Michelle Obama did it. You can do it.
Write your own.
Yeah.
You are the author and the star.
That's right. You're made out of stardust.
There you go.
All right.
I love it.
I gotta go, Darius.
Guys, we love you. Make sure you comment on the show, like it. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel, and get the note, hit the little bell so you can get the notifications when we put up new episodes. So I hope you got a lot out of this. I love you. Dr. Denise, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. I enjoy you as well.
Well, thank you very much.
And I appreciate you all for listening.
Yes, we do.
Today. I heard you, but was I listening?
That's
I'm
deep.
done.
That's deep.
More.
Don't go there.
No more.
Don't go there. All right, guys, be phenomenal.
Ashe.